always protect you.
She is my sister, and she's missing.
You saved her more than once. I know you'll save her again.
You took all from me.
I have access to everyone you love.
What happens next is on you.
I'm coming for you.
And you will pay for all the pain you caused.
I'll be waiting.
Found, October 3rd on NBC and Peacock.
Tonight at 10, a county sheriff accused of killing a Kentucky judge. The latest update from authorities.
Also tonight, UNI is making plans for a new civic education center after the project gets the green light from the Iowa Board of Regents. How it could impact Cedar Falls.
And the race for president remains tight as both candidates make their cases to voters.
Live from News 7 KWWL, we've got you covered. This is KWWL News at 10.
Thanks so much for joining us for the News at 10, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Kling.
And I'm Ron Steele. Let be known right now, we are no longer under a yellow weather alert right now, but there is still a chance for some rain moving throughout the viewing hour later tonight. So the yellow alert, though, is gone, isn't it?
Yeah, we want to get a look at the conditions right now in Decorah. We know Winneshiek County, one of those areas that saw some severe weather earlier. Let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Mark Schnackenberg with a look at what's happening out there right now.
Yeah, the heaviest rain in Winneshiek County was north of Decorah, and then it's also now to the east. And there's one warning that's officially in effect, but the threat for any severe weather is to the south and east. The warning is for southwestern Tama County until 10:15, but the storm is basically not even in the county anymore. It's off to the south and west as the motion on this is off towards the south and east, and that's part of a line that extends southwestward. Farther to the north and east, this is just general rain, and it's coming down pretty good. Yeah, there's some lightning in there as well, but you can see a bulk of that is moving away from the region, and there's not much else going on across the region. There could be a couple of showers, maybe a thunderstorm. The threat for any severe weather, very low. And if it is, it will be marginal with a gusty wind. And there will be some isolated showers and thunderstorms, still a possibility, from Elkader to about Tama, south and east. But outside of that, it's pretty quiet. And once that passes on by, we're looking at a partly cloudy sky. Look at the temperature still at this hour, 70s and 80s. It is muggy out there, but it is cooler back to the north and west. We'll have another warm day tomorrow, and we'll start it out with a little bit of fog in some places as temperatures will bottom out into the 60s. We'll talk about more rain for the upcoming weekend in your Storm Track 7 forecast.
All right, good to know. Thanks, Mark. Well, Bremer County Emergency Management is asking people to stay out of the Cedar River until noon tomorrow. This comes after thousands of gallons of wastewater spilled into the river last night from a broken pipe in Nashua. Around 3 this afternoon, the wastewater line was finally shut down to stop the spill. City officials say that more than 16,000 gallons, though, of wastewater flowed into the river, and they hope to get the issue resolved by tomorrow afternoon. Bremer County Conservation is placing signs near boat ramps and other entry points along the river, reminding people, though, to avoid the water for the time being. Well, Amazon is opening a new facility in Cedar Falls. This is the 9th Amazon facility to open here in Iowa, but it is the first for Cedar Falls. A spokesperson with the company says they chose to build there because it had everything they were looking for, from customer demand, customer base, as well as a strong workforce and support. Located on Innovation Drive, workers say that they plan to get customers their packages at a faster rate, and the company hopes to bring more jobs to the area.
Packages now have a new outlet in the Cedar Falls and the Waterloo area to get delivered to customers, giving them a wider selection of items at faster delivery speeds. It's part of our effort of helping customers have a wider selection in rural communities.
Well, since 2010, Amazon has brought more than 4,500 jobs to Iowa. In that time, they've added an estimated $3.3 billion to the state's GDP.
Well, new tonight here at 10 o'clock, we've learned that the University of Northern Iowa will soon be able to establish its own Center for Civic Education. That following approval this week from the Iowa State Board of Regents. It's a brand new UNI initiative on campus to help the university foster civic education among students, staff, and the entire Cedar Falls community. Now remember, UNI already offers some curriculum on civic education and offers programs helping students engage with the public in what is commonly known as civic discourse. But now they'll be able to expand this to reach kindergartners through 12th graders in education.
Our center offers opportunities for a much more expansive consideration of civic education, free speech, and public service
that emphasize building civic knowledge, civic skills, and civic values so that students who leave UNI are equipped to be engaged citizens.
The new UNI Center will provide activities even this year with speakers, workshops, and help with the school's what they call Panthers Vote program. This year UNI will look for a full-time director to take over starting with the next school year. And tonight we are learning more about a deadly plane crash recently in Indiana, which did claim the lives of 4 Iowans. Now, this plane had taken off from the Fort Dodge Airport back on September 6th, crashing hours later trying to land at an airport in Indiana. Now, according to the preliminary report from the NTSB just released this week, 2 witnesses said they heard the engine revving up as the plane turned to try to gain altitude. Then suddenly the engine just simply cut off and quit.
New at 10 now, a Kentucky district county judge has died after he was shot in his chambers today. The suspect is a county sheriff. Investigators say Sheriff Sean Steins shot Judge Kevin Mullins after the two got into an argument. All schools in the area were placed under lockdown following the shooting until the sheriff finally surrendered to police.
Obviously, it's a small town, and anything that happens out of the ordinary is going to cause for alarm. So, as of right now, we just want to reassure people there's no threat to the public.
Steins has now been charged with first-degree murder. The county courthouse will be closed all day tomorrow in the aftermath of this.
Well, just yesterday, the Federal Reserve Board cut interest rates for the first time since 2020. But even before that announcement yesterday, the number of mortgage applications from potential home buyers had gone up about 14% recently. In fact, the average rate now for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage has fallen to its lowest rate since September of 2022. And according to the Mortgage Bankers Association's seasonally adjusted index, after interest rates were cut by that half percentage point announcement yesterday, a real estate agent explains what this might mean for the housing market and potential home buyers going forward.
It's fantastic because now it's cheaper to borrow money. And what does that translate to? It means that people can afford to now buy houses. The only thing that would not make this a good thing is if sellers start to think, oh, well, great, mortgage rates are cheaper, I can just raise the price on my house. That's not going to work.
Yeah, with interest rates now down a little bit, the expectation is that new mortgage requests will continue to go up as borrowers keep their eyes out for even hopefully falling interest rates going forward. The Fed has already hinted there could be another cut later this year. Decision 2024 political coverage as we continue tonight. The race for the White House seems to be getting closer by the day with each new poll that emerges.
Tonight, both candidates campaigning across the country trying to sway voters. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from the campaign trails.
Today, a big batch of new polling putting the proof to just how close this presidential race is. The overall picture showing Vice President Harris looking slightly stronger after last week's debate. But the national and battleground results are all within the margin of error, raising the stakes on chasing down every undecided voter. Vice President Harris bringing in the star power for a campaign event tonight with Oprah Winfrey.
We are all together, united for one cause, and that is to get out the vote for Kamala Harris.
Tonight's streaming event bringing together online groups like White Dudes for Harris, Cat Ladies for Kamala, and Win with Black Women.
We have so much more in common than what separates us. Ultimately, the question before us is what kind of country do we want to live in?
The vice president targeting key voting blocs says she lost out on a big labor endorsement. The powerful Teamsters union that typically backs Democrats choosing not to endorse either candidate for the first time in nearly 30 years. An internal poll showed rank and file members supporting former President Trump.
It's a great honor. They're not going to endorse the Democrats. That's a big thing.
The Harris campaign saying, quote, Teamsters locals across the country have already endorsed her alongside the overwhelming majority of organized labor. Former President Trump tonight courting Jewish voters at an event on fighting anti-Semitism in the nation's capital.
We're going to take back our country, and we're going to make Israel great again, and we're going to make America great again.
As both nominees race for every vote. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, the election now just 47 days away, and the U.S. Postal Service is assuring people that mail-in ballots will arrive on time. The Postal Service says they will offer extra deliveries, have after-hours drop-offs to election offices, and designate lines at post offices for anyone dropping off a ballot.
What we have seen in the state of Georgia over the last year has been abysmal performance by U.S. Postal Service leadership.
Watch your vote, because they tend to disappear.
Well, the Postal Service asks anyone who votes by mail this year to place their ballots in the mailbox at least 1 week before Election Day on November 5th.
Still to come here tonight, we'll tell you how recent droughts are still having an impact on the growing season in Iowa right now. And welcome back here tonight at 10. The Met Transit routes in Waterloo, be advised, will be changing effective next Monday. This map behind me kind of shows where the routes will go through the city. Obviously, you'll need to go to the website there to find them specifically. To help promote the new routes, though, we're told that free rides, yes, free rides on Met Transit in Waterloo will be offered to all riders on the fixed routes from September 23rd all the way through October 26th. So you can get used to those new routes. But more importantly, perhaps, and this is really interesting, more movement going on in downtown Waterloo. Tonight we can tell you the Park Avenue bicycle lanes and the street Parking are moving to address safety and usability concerns which have been raised for bicyclists in Waterloo. Now, the visible cycling paths are going to be marked with bright green moving forward. That will really uncomplicate things, hopefully. And parking has moved over alongside the curb there. Now, create a safer and biking environment. That's the goal, of course, to allow for people in the city to get out there and feel like they are really safe. I was a little confused, Elizabeth, myself about that. So I think the green bike lanes are really, really great idea there.
To clarify things. The city of Dubuque is hosting its annual Parking Day tomorrow. Dubuque Main Street and Sustainable Dubuque will be transforming parking spaces downtown into miniature parks for the day. The event is a global project, part of a global project helping repurpose spaces to advocate for safer, greener, and more equitable streets in local communities. That event is set to run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Well, of course, the harvest season in full swing right now. I've seen a lot of beans going harvest right now. The corn can come here yet. Thanks to many dry days and months, Iowa farmers won't be picking out many crops this fall because after the state experienced an extreme drought last year, many areas were hit with as much as 10 inches of rainfall back in May. That proved to be difficult for farmers to handle after the dry crops were hard hit with a lot of moisture in very, very little span of time. So today we talked to the member of Iowa State University here in Blackhawk County. It says the dry weather we're seeing right now is actually pretty good for the fall harvest season as it's underway.
This dry weather now is good for the crops to finish, especially your field crops, but even your garden crops are probably ready to be picked. So now we're just finishing up. It's keeping them alive, but they're not really growing much anyway.
Now, Steve points out that issues that crops faced are a real slow growth period due to dry weather earlier. Right now, according to the National Drought Monitor, though, parts of Winneshiek, Clayton, and Fayette County and Dubuque counties in the KWW viewing area are in a moderate drought situation still.
All right, with that, we want to get another live look outside at the conditions out there right now. This is the view in New Hampton, and you can see the flag there. It's all quiet. No breeze blowing right now. It is a warm night out there in many areas. Let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Mark Schnackenberg for a look at what's ahead. Still the possibility of some rain for a few people too, right?
Yeah, it looks like our southeastern counties, I think New Hampton, areas north and west, even Waterloo north and west will be dry. That warning that we mentioned during the top of the show, how I told you the storm was basically out of the area, well, probably about 30 seconds after I tossed it back to you guys, they canceled the warning for Tama County and farther to the south and west as that storm continued to weaken. Still have a warning, or a new warning, associated with that storm near Colfax as this continues to track off towards the south. So there's Tama. It did catch this area. Something we'll watch is this part of the storm right here as that tracks to the southeast, but I think that's going to also remain to the southeast of our coverage area. Farther to the north and east, we have some showers and some thunderstorms, but at this point, doesn't look like anything's going to be severe here. This is just going to be a heavy rain producer for a short period of time and then move off towards the east. So hopefully it falls in your backyard if you're looking for some rain, but it's not widespread, though it is in through parts of Wisconsin. The big picture here, not a whole lot. Sort of a broken line right in here of showers and thunderstorms, and unfortunately right over our coverage areas where we have that hole in that line. So farther to the north and east, heavy rain and thunderstorms moving in that direction. Isolated severe thunderstorm along this boundary that will continue to track off towards the east. There could be something that pops up in here as we head through the next couple of hours, but chances on that becoming severe is pretty low, especially as we get closer towards midnight. That's where the rain has fallen so far. Not everybody seeing the rain as expected. Not everybody expected to see rain here as we head through the evening hours into the overnight. Where you did see some rain, some spots saw about an inch of rain. How about Prairie du Chien? 85/100ths of an inch of rain. About a third of an inch of rain in Waterloo. Other locations in Blackhawk County, about a half inch. I've seen a couple of reports in Grundy County, up to an inch of rain. Right now, Dubuque is dry, 77 degrees, south wind 14 miles per hour. And as that front continues to travel towards the east, a couple of showers and thunderstorms are a possibility. So by midnight, the threat for any showers and thunderstorms will be south and east of Cedar Rapids. And then that quickly moves out of the area by 1 o'clock, and then we've got dry conditions for the overnight. First thing tomorrow morning, some areas of fog, a possibility, but that thins out pretty quickly as the sun comes up. We'll have sunshine throughout the entire day, and it's going to be another warm one with temperatures topping out in the 80s. It's a warm start to the day tomorrow. 51 is our normal low. We'll be down into the middle 60s here tomorrow. And as we head into the day tomorrow, it goes back into the middle and upper 80s. Wind out of the northwest, about 5 or 10 miles per hour. Temperatures today did top 90 degrees. I think Iowa City, if I'm not mistaken, it was 91 for the high temperature. So yeah, it was pretty warm out there. City by city forecast, another warm day on Saturday, and this one's going to be humid. A couple isolated storms, a possibility late in the day. Most of the day is dry. I think Saturday night into Sunday. Sunday looks to be your wet day. Whether it's going to be all day or not, the latest data showing that it may not be all day. It may be more scattered about. We'll see how this plays out, but everybody has a pretty decent chance at some rain around here. That'll keep temperatures in the 60s. Same thing here on Monday with a couple of lingering showers, and then after that we'll dry out with temperatures in the 70s here for the week and overnight lows in the lower 50s. Elizabeth.
All right, Mark, looks good. Thanks so much. Still ahead, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever play their final game of the WNBA regular season.
And in high school football on this Thursday night, undefeated Cedar Rapids Jefferson playing host to Des Moines East at Kingston Stadium. Sports Director Rick Coleman will have the highlights coming up next.
Tail great. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? All right. Who? Fever got beat because they only played half. They led 20-2, and then that team caught them before halftime, and then Caitlin and those guys sat the rest of the game after. They played a lot of bench folks. But they still make the playoffs. They finished 20-20 on the season. Now they got to play Connecticut Sun in the first round. Connecticut Sun's good. Anybody above them is really good. Yeah, they'll have to play Connecticut Sun. I know it would be if they won it all. Yeah, I don't think.
Now, KWWL Sports.
Caitlin Clark and the playoff-bound Indiana Fever playing their final home game of the, game of the WNBA regular season tonight at the Washington Mystics. It was like a home game. The Fever have clinched the 6th spot in the WNBA playoffs and will face the 3rd-seeded Connecticut Sun in the first round. 20,700 11 fans on hand to watch the Fever and the Mystics. Largest crowd in league history. Caitlin Clark with an early show. The assist to Nalissa Smith. The Fever on fire. And later, it's Clark with the step back three. Indiana storms to an 11-0 lead. Clark again from downtown. The Fever would build a 20-2 lead. Clark finishes as the league leader for the season in assists and three-pointers, but with nothing to play for tonight, Clark and the other Fever starters watched from the bench after the first half tonight, and the Washington Mystics are going to storm back to win this game 92-91, but Indiana is going to the playoffs, and the Washington Mystics are not.